Moments like this, these last two football games, being able to do what we've done, energize a city, right? Energize a town, energize fans, is only going to make us better moving forward. And that's the part that I'm excited about.
No one thought we should be here, and we just kept believing. And it was really cool to be a part of. And it was special. And like I said, just the beginning.
You know, I go back to April, and I told the team in April, I said, expect to play playoff games on the road in Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Kansas City.
You know, I think that was this year obviously was huge for this organization, for our city, for just our franchise, you know, moving forward, and it kind of sets the bar of who we're going to be and what we're going to do moving forward, and that's the mindset, and we won't settle for less than that, and this won't be the last you guys hear of us, so we'll be back.
This boy got a hit.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E to the T.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. Jaguars Today here with you as we're 9 days out from the NFL Draft. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E.T. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
E.T.
Yeah.
What's up?
You see it, man. A little razzle-dazzle, something like nothing special.
No, just a little T-shirt and shorts kind of day.
Yeah.
There, which is fine. Look, I'm shorts and a golf shirt every day, pretty much, you know, as you can see on the wonderful 1010XL live cam.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of it, you know. If you see me salute the live cam, it's you know, I'm just saying you're number one, okay? You as the Jaguar fan base is number one collectively, and I believe that. I've been going about it all wrong, Tony.
Oh?
You know, I tried to get Shad Khan to adopt me. Kind of half-hearted effort.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go in for Trevor Lawrence at this point in time.
Oh, boy.
Like,
It's
Trevor, I know I'm
coming,
a little older than, like, what you'd expect your first child to be. That's okay. I'm open to it if you are, right? I'm just trying to anticipate what's coming down the road
No
here
doubt, yeah.
right now. And there's a Brinks truck that Trevor will not have to have a hype man drive up to the front of TIAA Bank Field, and it's going to be full of bouillon and Waffle House coffee and whatever else Trevor likes, and he's going to get whatever he wants, man, after Jalen Hurts got that deal yesterday. I'm not saying it's not deserved for Jalen Hurts. He was runner-up in the MVP conversation.
Yep.
And he helped get his team to the Super Bowl. Now, you can also say his fumble was probably the biggest negative play in the Super Bowl, but nevertheless,
He played great in the game.
he really did, with the exception of that play,
Yep.
right? He did play very well and likely would have been Super Bowl MVP. And, you know, you're not supposed to pay guys. Well, you can do whatever you want, I suppose. But the best fiscal responsibility isn't paying guys for what they've done. It's that you expect them to do it again. And that's why you're paying them, or maybe even more than what they've done. And I'm sure, you know, now that they put the pieces around Jalen Hurts, they said, okay, this was kind of proved to me. We're giving you A.J. Brown to go with Devontae Smith, who you already had. You got Dallas Goedert.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your running ability. You got a really good offensive line. And by the way, you got a defense that gets the ball back to you a lot with all that pressure they put on quarterbacks, Tony. But he flourished, right? And I mean, he took off, and his numbers took off, and his play, his level of play, the winning was there. Remember, Gardner Minshew lost a couple of games down the stretch. Jalen Hurts lost one game during the regular season last year. And I know people are like, oh, my gosh, Lamar Jackson's got to be looking at this, licking his chops. Lamar Jackson, to me, doesn't have the leverage that Jalen Hurts had. You know, his MVP, he won MVP. He didn't come runner-up like Jalen did. And it was unanimous MVP. Of course, that was back when you could only vote for one guy on the ballot. But regardless,
Sure.
I mean, it was fantastic. But that was 4 years ago. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Well, Trevor Lawrence got this team, helped this team, to a 9-8 record last year and a playoff comeback for the ages, and a feeling that you wouldn't trade places with many at that position in the National Football League. So, Tony, I mean, immediately here in Jacksonville, you're like, okay, 5 years, $255 million. I'm not disparaging Jalen Hurts at all.
Yeah, no.
Trevor's going to get more than that, don't you think?
I would think so, yeah.
I
And
mean,
I think there is something. I can remember when the Lamar Jackson stuff really started kicking up about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, right? And this offseason coming up on the franchise tag deadline, and it was clear they were probably going to use a tag on him, but they'd be willing to trade him and wanted the full contract guaranteed. Like, all that stuff started really swirling this offseason. I put up an impromptu poll one day just asking if Trevor Lawrence were to ask for his next contract to be fully guaranteed, right? The same ask that allegedly Lamar Jackson has in this situation. If Trevor were to ask that his next contract be fully guaranteed, what would your response be? And I'll pull it up. I'll find it here in a minute. But it was essentially, the most confident answer was give him whatever he wants, right? That was the top answer that I listed down through. There's no way, right, that I'm going to do that kind of deal, and a couple of options between. Like 60% of people responded and said, give him whatever he wants.
Well, you see, that's
the
that
fan
sounds
base.
good. Okay, that sounds good.
It's not the team.
I want
and it's not,
$100 million a year, fully guaranteed. Of course, you're not going to give him that.
No,
that's not the market.
But it's not expecting that he's going to ask for that.
Well, but then if you say give him whatever he wants,
sure,
you're writing a blank check
but
for your quarterback.
Fully guaranteed. If he came to the team right now and said, you know what, yeah, we can do it. We can do a deal. 5 years, $55 million a year, fully guaranteed.
5 years, $55 a year. So, what is that? $275.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fully guaranteed. Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I think the question is, how high would you go
sure.
on a fully guaranteed deal? Because I'm with you. If it were $55 million, I don't have any question about it. I mean, is he not going to play the contract out anyway?
Sure.
Right? Are you going to cut him? Really? Right? I mean, if you're worried about that, like either this guy's going to not work hard or – now, granted, guys can get hurt, right? But most of these have heavy injury guarantees anyway.
Sure.
Okay? And we're talking about the difference here. But, I mean, I don't even know what the point is. I mean, I suppose Jalen Hurts could renegotiate his deal before it's up and they could extend it and rip up that last little bit. But, yeah, I'd be fine going fully guaranteed as long as it's within the parameters. Again, we're not doubling the highest quarterback salary out there and giving him a fully guaranteed contract, but $1 more than the last guy, fully guaranteed. I think, honestly, the Justin Herbert contract is going to be telling because as of now, Hurts was a runner-up MVP and took his team to a Super Bowl. Okay, Trevor has not reached those heights yet. Now, I'm not saying he won't. Maybe he'll do that this year, right? But Jalen Hurts is that. Justin Herbert is more numerically based. Right? Like, hey, nobody has ever thrown for 4,000-plus yards in each of his first 3 years in the National Football League until this guy came along. And Trevor's also beaten him head-to-head a couple of times, and that team hasn't had a ton of team success. So if Trevor Lawrence wins the AFC South with the Jaguars, it's not Trevor Lawrence. It's 53 guys, but he is the head guy. If they win the AFC South, win a playoff game this year, I mean, to me, lock it in as soon as possible.
Right.
Because, I get there's an idea that, well, you could play it out for one more year, right? You could play it out for, honestly, several more years, right? You really could because you got the 4 years of the rookie deal plus the fifth-year option, then the franchise tags all come in. So you could go that road. But I don't want to do it. If I'm doing it early, like you're going to be doing it if you do it next offseason, I don't want 5 years if I'm the team. I want 8. I want long-term commitment to this football team and lock it in. And I'll give you, and I don't know if I'm going to fully guarantee 8 because a lot can happen in 8 years, but
sure,
I will give you as much fully guaranteed money as anybody else is getting in their deal. But I want the surety. Patrick Mahomes signed a 10-year deal.
He did.
Right? And maybe Trevor Lawrence goes down that road, Tony. He's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to sign something that will set me up and my kids up and their kids up for the end of time, as long as we're somewhat responsible for how we conduct ourselves. And what's the difference? 50, 55 million? I mean, yeah, it's $5 million, right? But when you're getting that and you have the 50, if it were a difference between $100,000 and $5.1 million, it's a massive difference. It's not as big a deal. Who knows how it'll go? But today, the Chad and Sandy real estate question today is asking you really more to predict what the future holds for Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars as far as contracts go. And it is a little side piece. If you want to talk about how much guaranteed money you'd be willing to give him, like on a fully guaranteed deal, what does that deal look like? What is the upper end? You can certainly let us know. But we're asking you today, seeing as how Jalen Hurts got a 5-year, $255 million contract extension with the Eagles, and reportedly $179 million of that is guaranteed. What do you think Trevor Lawrence's next contract will look like with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Simplest way to do it, just give us years and total dollars. If you want to give us the guarantee, that's fine too. You can break it down as far as you like. But how many years and for how much total money? Knowing that if it's not fully guaranteed, sometimes there's funny money in those kind of deals to make the annual average look a little bit better, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, like if you go look at Patrick Mahomes' deal, right, and look at it year by year, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a base salary in any season of at least $10 million until 2027, right? Like the money for Patrick Mahomes is coming in a roster bonus every year, right? It's his roster bonus this year is $22.4 million. His base salary this year is $5.5 million.
Okay, but that roster bonus still counts on
Oh,
this
it
year's
does.
salary cap.
Right. It counts on the cap, but it's the way that they're manipulating the money, right? Like it's different, and it's how they get to what he's getting on an average yearly basis, like you just
Which
said.
already looks like a bargain.
Yeah.
You know, and which is why they say the NFLPA was furious with him for signing that deal.
Yeah.
A 10-year deal. Hey, Trevor, don't listen to the NFLPA. Listen to your Jaguar fandom. We want you here. You want to sign a 12-year deal?
Yeah. He's
All
got
right.
a $49 million roster bonus in 2027 with a $10 million base salary.
Right, and they can convert that to a signing bonus if they
can do
want.
whatever
Then they
they
can
want.
chop that up
Yeah.
and spread that
They've
out
already
over.
done some things with that contract to create money, and
But the bottom
believe
line,
me,
10
they
years,
will over and
$450.
over. Yeah.
Right, and okay, and I mean, look, is that not enough? Right, like, I get it. If you can get 10 years, $550.
Sure.
I'm not turning right. Who's turning down an extra $100 million? But I think Patrick Mahomes is looking at like, okay, and I don't know. I mean, you know, all you can do is speculate from the outside. I'm happy with what I'm getting, and maybe it leaves us a little room to actually operate and maneuver and add pieces that we need around me. You
keep
know,
the team competitive.
to keep a Chris Jones and a Travis Kelce paid in the manner in which they've become accustomed and deserve. So whatever the number is, let us know what you think the next contract will look like for our man Trevor Lawrence here in Jacksonville. We got our man Big Meech coming up today, 10:40. Demetrius Harvey going to join us from the Florida Times-Union. We'll talk about the changing quarterback contract landscape. He also had a mock out last week at the TU, a Jaguar-specific mock. We're getting down to crunch time here, Tony. A lot of talk that the Texans will not be taking C.J. Stroud. And if they do go quarterback, Will Levis is now the betting favorite to be the second quarterback taken. And Will Anderson overall is the odds-on favorite to be the second overall pick in the draft. So there's, whether it's true or not, the Texans have created a scenario where people believe that if they stand pat, they're going to pass on a quarterback, or very likely could pass on a quarterback at this point in time. Are they, just trying to create a market for their pick? I don't know what they're doing right now. Maybe they just don't love C.J. Stroud or any of these other guys enough to fully commit to the number 2 pick when they could maybe still get a bonanza and move back, and who knows, maybe still get one of the top 4 guys at the position. I mean, at the way it's going right now, for all this late Will Levis talk, Tone, if the Texans were to trade back to 5, they still might get C.J. Stroud, the way things are headed right now. It's a dangerous game to play if you do like one of those guys, and considering they have a second first-round pick, you would think they're not going to get that crazy. Hey, there's a good one from Delphonic. There's Trevor walking out of the back of that Brinks truck with the money bags. Time to get that money. You know it is. It will be soon, Trev. You got to bide your time. That's the only thing. Stupid NFL rules make you be in the league for 3 years before you can get the $500 million bag. How dare they? All right, so if you want to be a part of the program today, 641-1010 is the way to do it on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Of course, hit us up on our various Twitter handles as well with your thoughts, Jaguar-related, at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at IME2 the T.
Come on, somebody.
Come on, everybody. Demetrius Harvey, 25 minutes away. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Beautiful day out. You know what? Maybe you're driving around getting some things done. Maybe you're headed to the golf course or the beach. Lucky you, aren't you, huh? Maybe you got the day off. Well, you know what? Danny is always in the plans. Whether you've got a hectic work day or a leisurely you day, maybe you're doing some honeydew somewhere in between, swing into an area gate station, look for that Dandy label in the fresh case. You know you got a local company that's taking care of local folks there. Dandy, the Anytime Deli label, it's all under one umbrella. The Thompson family created the Dandy Corporation over 65 years ago with a few handful of sandwiches and subs, and they've just added to their menu ever since, always keeping quality at the forefront. Highest quality ingredients, always fresh, great variety, great prices as well. Fill up your belly and don't slow yourself down. On the go if you're looking for food in Jacksonville, Florida. Dandy's the name to know, so do what I do when you're hungry. Go out and make yours a Dandy. Do it today.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Cataracts can take a toll on the quality of a loved one's life. Maybe it's even your parents or someone close to you. Hey, Hicken here. I've been talking to you about Bowden Eye. And it turns out renowned cataract care is right here at Bowden Eye & Associates. Their doctors help those with cataracts feel hopeful, sometimes for the first time in a long time. If someone you love is suffering from cataracts, schedule a visit for a personal consultation. 3 locations to serve you, including the new office on County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
Jacksonville has some junk, and J-Dog is removing it. They're here to do the dirty work. You don't want to remove and dispose of large furniture or appliances yourself? Call J-Dog. Here now, proudly serving you, removing junk from your home or business. They can even handle small demolition projects, and they're still donating local items to veterans in need. So let J-Dog do the dirty work for you. J-Dog Junk Removal, veteran-owned and operated. JDog.com.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, it's Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money and pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement project. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. So even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness. Say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or as always, you can visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Any adventure, any task, anytime. There's a CF Moto Utility ATV or UTV for any rider. See the full lineup at Ride Now Beach Boulevard. Venture seekers can start with the trail-tested capability and comfort of the C-Force lineup. For the ultimate in UTV performance, check out the Z-Force 950. Find your utility ATV at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or online at cfmotousa.com. ATVs are recommended for the use only by riders age 16 years and older. ATVs can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends approved training course for safety and training information.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars. Make them your AC partner with honest cost estimates before they start the work with no hidden fees. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows in $2.95.
You will love your new windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen. And for a limited time, buy 2 windows or patio doors and get the third at 60% off. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. You'll enjoy the beauty and quality that only Renewal by Andersen offers. This offer expires April 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. License number CGC 1527613.
If your lawn is not as green as you'd like, it's time to go orange by calling Orange Environmental Services, Jacksonville's highest quality pest control for over 45 years. Frank Frangie here. I've trusted Orange Environmental to take care of our home's pest control needs for years. With the Orange Shield Protection Plan for your home or office, you can relax knowing Orange Environmental will handle pest control, termite control, and mosquito control. Orange Environmental has been giving Northeast Florida peace of mind from bug problems since 1972. Call them today at 272-3284.
Feel the thrill of victory.
Coming to the checkered flag, I can't believe what I just saw.
This Sunday at Talladega. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL. Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right. We can all just sit here and look. You can be jealous if you want to. I'm a little bit jealous. I'm always jealous when somebody hits Powerball. Trevor Lawrence worked hard for where he is. He's very gifted. You know, all these guys make a lot more money than me. If you, there's a little natural tendency like, who needs that much? Maybe you don't need it. But here's the thing. Somebody mentioned today already on the Twitter side of things here, Tone. They said, hopefully. Hope like hell the NFL figures out the ceiling for the cap. There is no ceiling for the cap.
No.
The cap is
the ceiling is the roof.
The cap's directly tied to revenues, like 49%.
Yeah.
We call it, and that might be actually the number, but it might be 49.1. It's somewhere in that the players get out of every dollar that's made, they get 49 cents.
Yep.
Right? And that's how the salary cap is calculated. You take all those 49 cents, you take all the money the NFL makes.
Yeah.
And basically half of all the money the NFL makes, then you divide by 32. There's your salary cap.
And there's a bunch of new media money coming in next year,
Right.
which is why the cap's going to go boom. Right. It's just not exactly clear how much higher it's going to go, but it's going to jump a bunch.
They're just not picking random numbers and going, oh, man, let's be fiscally irresponsible here. The money's there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. There's a pool of money. The question is, how do you distribute it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's important? Is quarterback the most important position in football? Yes, it is. We agree, right? Is it 2.5 times more valuable than any other position in football?
Maybe.
I think it might be.
Yeah. The money is telling you it is.
If you're telling me A.J. Brown is worth $25 million, is Jalen Hurts not worth $50?
Right.
I mean, who's worth $50 million? Well, the players are.
Yeah.
Because the money, they raise that revenue. People watch. TV contracts are there. The money is there. And so it's not that. There's no issue. The money, the Jags have the money. Every team has the money.
They do.
To spend on these players. The question is, how are you going to distribute that cash? And the quarterback's going to get the lion's share, the biggest piece of it. Question is, how much? And that's why it is a beautiful thing right now. Trevor Lawrence is on a rookie deal. Jags did go out and spend wildly in free agency last year. I'm not saying ineffectively, but they spent tons and tons of money.
Yep.
Tons of money, and you can afford to do that. You got to make tougher decisions down the road. But as you said, Tone, that new money's going to roll in. Cap's going to go up. And, the rest of the team, you may not have to cut anybody to sign Trevor Lawrence to this new deal when this new TV contract hits, right? All that money that he's going to be counting that he's not counting now is going to be fresh cap space.
Yeah. And as we've discussed, it's not the only big money decision they're going to have to make next offseason, right? Like, they got a bunch. That is coming up next offseason, but there's going to be enough
Ridley
money
and
to
Josh
handle
Allen
it. Yeah.
and who knows whom else that may be in that category as well. Plus, you're always looking to add pieces and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And look, there's all kinds of ways you could structure this. If it's fully guaranteed, hey, Trev, you know what? We're going to add this on. You're going to play out your rookie deal. We're going to give you a fully guaranteed deal. Here's the new money aspect of it. I don't know how it's going to work out between the two sides. Or will they rip up that last year and say, well, let's give it to you right now? Don't know. Either way, he's going to get that cash. Seems a little like, these contracts are structured this way for a reason. Then, the guy's underpaid. Well, that's the negotiated structure of the deals.
Yeah.
Again, I don't feel too bad. Some guys do end up victims of circumstance, could have made more. than otherwise, just because either the team doesn't have the cap space or they play the wrong position or whatever the case may be. But, life ain't fair for everybody.
Yeah.
You want to be that big-arm quarterback, apparently, then life is more fair.
It's not like A.J. Brown is living uncomfortably.
No, he's going to do just fine, I think, catching those passes from Jalen Hurts. By the way, A.J. Brown's not involved in every play.
No.
Like Jalen Hurts is, to the degree Jalen Hurts is, certainly. 641-1010. We got the phone lines buzzing, got the text line buzzing. So let's begin with Paul in Arlington this morning. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Loving listening to your show. Sorry I have a cold right now.
It's all right.
I just thought theoretically something that I'd love to hear discussed. And it is the quarterback, that holds hostage the team in terms of money. What if, on the other hand, the NFL instituted a rule that no team, and this would be tweaked, could throw more than 40 forward passes and no player on that team could throw more than 32 passes in the game? And how that would change draft strategy as well as game time strategy. And I'd just take this off the air, and I'm curious what your all's thoughts are on that.
Sure. I mean, it's just kind of silly.
It's kind of it's in that kind of range of the NBA. They should have a height limit, right? This is how many inches of height you're allowed to have on the floor at any given time, right? Like you've heard those ideas brought up from time to time. That's not what the NBA is concerned about. Right, like whoever can play should play, and I'm fine with that idea. In the NFL, no, you don't want to limit.
NFL loves passing,
right?
Fans love passing.
They don't want in any way to limit that part of the game.
Never gonna happen. No. Yeah, I mean, would it change things? Sure, it would.
Yeah,
because then
it's an
there's
interesting mental, going through that kind of mental exercise. Maybe it would be a little bit interesting.
I just don't think
it's not going to be more interesting than the game they have on the field right now.
Well, look, I mean, it's hard enough to find 32 competent quarterbacks to play the entirety of the game for you. So now we're going to limit them to throwing 32 passes. Could you? I mean, just how unworkable that would be. You're behind and you got to throw all these passes to catch up, and then as you're catching up, you got to take out your best player, or
you're limiting the passes early because we might need them in the fourth quarter. It's too much.
Yes, it would drastically change the dynamic, but it's just never going to happen.
No.
It's a mental exercise at best. Steve in Melbourne up next here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing this morning?
Good. What's up?
I just wanted to give my thoughts on the contract. I agree with you, Mike, 100%. You lock him up for 8 to 10 years. You give him the Pat Mahomes deal. Just throwing out numbers, I would throw him 8 years, $430 million. And then for 8 years, that's about $53.75 million a year. Mind you, barring, say, God willing, he gets us to the AFC Championship or maybe even the Super Bowl this year. Then that number goes up. But trust me, I 100% agree with Mike on this one. You lock him up for a good while.
I appreciate it, Steve. Look, to me, if he gets in, unless he goes out there and throws 30 interceptions, you know what I mean? Unless he has the season like he had his rookie year and where you're actually starting to question, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? To me, it doesn't change if they get to the Super Bowl, the AFC title game that much, right? Barring something really substandard, right? Those things are going to fluctuate, right? You make playoff runs. Sometimes you go deep. Sometimes you don't go deep. Let's consistently get there. If I'm paying you 50-something million, I expect you to get us to a damn Super Bowl at some point. You know what? I'm not going to give you a bonus when you do. That's why I'm paying you, because I expect you to help me contend for championships, multiple championships here in Jacksonville. That's why you pay that kind of money, in my opinion. Otherwise, go the route where you go the short-term deal with Daniel Jones as kind of a stopgap guy for 2 or 3 seasons. And, I'm not committing 8 years to 10 years to anybody who I don't think is capable of doing that to begin with.
Well, I think at least part of the conversation about Lamar Jackson and his contract at this point has been, where is the playoff success? Right? That's been part of this in the discussion about whether or not he should get a fully guaranteed deal or get close to the money that he's at least seemingly asking for from the Baltimore Ravens. That has come in as part of the negotiation, it seems like, between those two sides.
Does it have anything to do with Justin Herbert at all?
No.
He hadn't had any playoff success at all.
No, we don't. But we don't know what his deal is going to look like yet.
Granted, but I expect it to be at least in the Hurts neighborhood.
I would think
it's not better.
It's likely to be.
right?
But it's not like those things don't come up when these kind of conversations come up. Now, I don't think the Ravens were pushing any of or the conversation about Lamar Jackson publicly when the contract stuff started last offseason. I don't think a bunch of people were saying, what are the Ravens nuts for offering him $130 million guaranteed? The guy's won what in the playoffs? I don't think that was the conversation then. It's a year later, people are like, this is why. They're reasoning why the Ravens maybe were only willing to go to this line, right, with Lamar Jackson.
Sure.
And the playoff success becomes a part of that conversation. It's baked in when the offer is made, right?
To me, it's more, though, do you expect him to put you in that position and have the chance to
I'm
go
100%
on?
with you.
And is his game the type? You know, I think that it's
it's
not the lack of playoff wins as much as it is the style of play.
And I thought the Lamar offer was fair. Like, I thought the offer that the Ravens made to Lamar Jackson he turned down was a fair offer for him to play quarterback for the Ravens. He said no. Here they are, right? Jalen Hurts said yes. And it was an easy yes, I'm sure, to that kind of offer being made for a guy that 2 years ago people were like, really, you're going to start him? You know, like there were those kind of conversations. And then they lose the way they did in the playoffs that year to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. And it's like, really? This guy? This is who we're going to pin the future of this franchise on? Jalen Hurts? Well, finished second in the MVP. Took him to the Super Bowl last year. Things happen, right? Players get better as they continue to play in the league. Jalen Hurts is among the handful of the best quarterbacks in the league, a top 10 quarterback certainly. What does that mean for all the rest of the guys? That's pretty much what we're discussing today. I don't know what it does ultimately for Burrow and Herbert and Trevor Lawrence, but it certainly won't hurt them in their negotiations with their team.
Of course not. Chris from Middleburg said Trevor should get 8 years, $575. I had to get the calculator out. 71.875 per.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get it one day, and we're going to be like, remember when? I remember when someone would be happy to get $71 for a game. No one remembers that.
Yeah.
They may have gotten it way back in
my
the day,
guys
but they
had
probably weren't
part-time
happy.
jobs in the offseason.
That's right.
That was
those
my
were the,
football.
Those were the football leagues I liked.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? It's coming. So just don't pay attention. Look at the roster. Hopefully they'll be competitive. But the question of the day presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. Jalen Hurts getting a 5-year, $255 million deal, reportedly nearly $180 million guaranteed. What do you think Trevor Lawrence's next contract will look like with the Jacksonville Jaguars? We'll discuss that and more with Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union coming up next here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HRV, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CRV Hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
We've seen it 1,000 times. Insurance companies using the same tired excuses not to pay. They'll say you're really not hurt, or that your injury is from an old accident. That's why it's so important to hire a law firm who has their own medical experts, who know how to fight excuses with facts. When they bring excuses, we bring the truth. And truth is power. Farah and Farah. Here for you, here for good. Jacksonville.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound and Security is hiring salespeople right now. If you want to sell new tech security cameras or home automation, Tyson Sound and Security is looking for you. Tyson Sound and Security is hiring for sales positions, and they will train you to be successful. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call 762-1000. That's 762-1000. Hiring for sales positions right now. Apply online at TysonSoundandSecurity.com or call 762-1000. Equal opportunity employer.
Mark Watson for Hardball Creative, letting you know that Hardball has cooler promotions, but some people call them ice chests. Either way, check out the items you can put your company logo on at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all. Who are Jacksonville's draft day targets?
All we want to do is win.
1010XL's draft coverage is brought to you by the personal injury law firm of Harrell & Harrell and renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors. Follow the offseason with 1010XL and Tire Outlet.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Stop wasting your money on bottled water and call Dug Duck Rooter. We can install a new water filtration system and softener at your home or business. Check out our 5-star Google reviews and give us a call today for a quote. DugDuckRooter.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph is such a hardy, big, beautiful bike. If they come into the showroom, what can they find?
You're going to find everything from the modern classics, the Trident, the Scramblers, the Bobbers. We've got it all.
And inventory's always changing, right?
It is always changing. It's fluctuating fast. If you see it, you better get it.
So come on into the showroom. That's the easiest way. Or log on to cyclesofjacksonville.com. They're on Atlantic near Regency. That's Cycles of Jacksonville.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home this week at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is Community First 2 for Tuesday. Tomorrow is a noon day game on VyStar Good is Everywhere Wednesday. And the weekend starts with Coors Light Thirsty Thursday. Enjoy fireworks Friday and Saturday. Tickets start at just $5. Call 358-2846 or jackshrimp.com for tickets.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting, prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting!
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
The Northeast Florida Safety Council has been keeping Florida safe for 80 years. I'm Megan Naylors, Member Services Specialist. Whether your organization is large or small, we're a nonprofit that provides the services you need to take the worry out of compliance. Benefits of membership include thousands of online and instructor-led safety and health classes, learning management system access, safety walkthroughs, orientation program development, and consulting services. For more on becoming a member, visit nefsc.org.
Seminole and proud of it.
Let's give him the chop!
Rick Ballou takes you into the night. Every weeknight on 1010XL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, getting down to crunch time for the NFL Draft. Will be here upon us mercifully before you know it. Or maybe not. Maybe the next 9 days will stretch out into an eternity. It's quite possible as well. But here to help us through at least the next 10 or 12 minutes of it, Demetrius Harvey joining the program from the Florida Times-Union. Good morning, Demetrius. How are you, buddy?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How about you guys?
We're just sitting here trying to figure out how I can get adopted by Trevor Lawrence in time for some of that new money deal that's coming. We saw the Jalen Hurts contract go down yesterday. What do you think the Jags' approach is going to be, Demetrius? Obviously, you're not eligible for a new contract until you've been in the league for 3 years, so next offseason would be the earliest, but Trevor Lawrence will have a fourth year on his rookie deal, the fifth-year option at the team's disposal. Do you think they act as quickly as possible to get him locked in for as long as possible, or do they continue to try to take advantage of him playing on a rookie deal at least for another season?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if I were them, I would do it as soon as possible. I mean, you see all these guys, every single new contract that comes out for these young quarterbacks has superseded the previous one. You know, obviously there are some outliers. You know, obviously guys like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers are going to get a little bit more just because of what they've done in the league. But at the end of the day, it seems like all these contracts are just going up and up and up. And if the Jaguars wait, which they could technically, you know, you could wait throughout, you know, 2024, even into 2025 theoretically, because you have that fifth-year option. But if you, the longer you wait, the more money it's going to cost. And you know, as of right now, with the salary cap rising next year, potentially people expect it to boom a lot. You know, you just don't want to sit there and all of a sudden now you're paying Trevor, you know, $500 million over 5 years, you know, so to speak. So I think right now their plan is probably, you know, obviously they don't do anything in season or anything like that. So, you know, next off season is the earliest time you can extend Trevor. And I think that, you know, at that point you might as well go ahead as long as, you know, he continues to grow as you would expect him to.
What is your best guess, Demetrius, for how easy or difficult a contract negotiation with Trevor might be?
I feel like for quarterbacks, I mean, we've seen this. It seems, but aside from Jackson, you know, we've seen these quarterbacks sign pretty effortlessly and kind of random. I don't know if anybody was expecting necessarily that Jalen Hurts would get his contract right now. I think it's just something that the teams kind of know that they have to do, and they do whatever it takes. I think in this league, especially nowadays, quarterbacks have the most leverage out of any other position on the team. As long as they're good, they're going to get paid. So what you can do is sort of it seems like it'll be easier to just go ahead and lock in Trevor. It doesn't seem like that's something that's going to be difficult or linger. I don't think that they're going to have to use a franchise tag. It just feels like for quarterbacks, the position, especially how young these guys are, it's pretty easy to go ahead and lock them up.
Yeah, well, I hope that's the case for most. You know, Lamar Jackson being an exception here, and Herbert and Burrow are, for the most part, it seems like they're keeping negotiations under wraps to see how that goes, and maybe it'll be like Jalen Hurts. This one day we'll wake up and boom, new contract there. Demetrius, my big hope is, though, for this team, whenever it comes, right, and hopefully everyone feels it's well-deserved, everyone's happy. I just want it to be for as long as possible, man. I don't need a 5-year deal. We're 3 years into it. People are talking about, oh, he's outplayed this deal. It's time to rip it up. Give me 8 years at a minimum, preferably something along the lines of what Mahomes did with that 10-year deal. I mean, this is the guy. I don't think anybody questions whether or not this is the guy. You've got a rare opportunity to have one of these kind of quarterbacks on your franchise, and I hope they are able to do it for as long-term as possible.
Absolutely. I mean, that's sort of, you know, the big key. Josh Allen signed for 6 years. Patrick Mahomes signed for 10 years. Obviously, both of those guys could, you know, down the line ask for more money if they would like to. But you do have that security of, like, you know, these guys are going to be there for as long as possible. That's sort of what those contract links, to me at least, say. So, yeah, I mean, the more years you can put on it, the better. I mean, it seems like it doesn't matter. You know, at that point, if you have your franchise quarterback, you'll lock him in for, you know, in perpetuity if you need to. You know, that's sort of how it's trending. So, yeah, you know, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, I think it's all right for the Jaguars.
We've hit single digits, Demetrius. Just 9 days now until the first round of the NFL draft. How many players would you need to list to feel confident that you have named the Jaguars draft pick at 24?
It's tough. I mean, I feel like in years past you could list 5 guys and you would nail it for sure. This year, you know, it's going to be tough because there's so many guys, not just the, you know, top end guys that have visited the team, but those that haven't. Joey Porter Jr., for example, he's another guy that no one's really talking about as much because, you know, he hasn't visited. You know, they don't know necessarily. Maybe they don't think that he could play inside, whatever the case may be, in terms of why people aren't talking about him. But there's so many players that I've seen now mock to the Jaguars. I don't think anybody has a single clue necessarily exactly what direction that they're headed in. But to answer your question, I mean, at least 10 to 15 guys, I would say, and then at that point, it could still be, some guy that you wouldn't expect. I think that a lot of people expect them to at some point address the tight end position. Could that be in round one? I don't know. That's a position group where people are sort of hesitant to mock there because they don't value the tight end position as highly as maybe NFL teams do or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so it seems like everything's pretty much open for the Jags except for maybe the wide receiver position. So it's going to be interesting to see.
All right, so for you, the Jaguars come to you and say, Demetrius, we need help. Here are the guys like, Will Anderson's not going to be there, right? I mean, certain guys are not going to fall, right? So realistically, who's the guy that you are hoping, if you are part of the Jaguar brain trust, that you're hoping is there at 24? Who makes it the easiest decision on you?
I think you have to hope that Darnell Wright is there out of Tennessee. I think that he's probably their best bet in terms of being able to fill that right tackle role or left tackle role, depending on what happens next year with Cam Robinson and sort of how Walker Little progresses or doesn't progress. I think that that's probably the most important position that you can select. Cam is coming off of a knee injury, which we don't necessarily know the full extent of that or the timeline or anything of that nature. Perhaps we'll learn more on Thursday when we talk to Trent and Doug. I feel like, at this point, I think that it makes the most sense to solidify that offensive line. If a guy like Darnell Wright is falling, and I've seen him mock, anywhere from, 12 or 13 to, 20. So if he starts to fall and you have a guy or you have a couple picks that you're willing to give up to trade up to get him, I think that he's the guy.
Is there anybody like Darnell Wright who you're talking about there who you feel like is enough of a safe bet for the Jags at 24 that if they got to around 20 or 21 that you'd be willing to make the move up to go get?
Yeah, I think him. Brian Branch is another guy that I'd be willing to go up and get. Just because, you can never have too many good defensive backs, obviously, but, Brian Branch, to me at least, seems like the safest, and I don't know if any draft pick is necessarily safe, but he seems like the safest guy to be able to select. And if you're sitting there and that's the guy at the top of your board as it gets closer to maybe 20, 21, you might as well just go up and get him. It depends on how much it costs, but, I think that at that point, you want to be able to, bolster your roster to the best of your ability. If guys like Myles Murphy and Nolan Smith and other pass rushers are already gone, and now you have Wright already gone and maybe another offensive tackle, and now you have Brian Branch sitting there, you might as well just go up and try to get him. I think that's their best bet, but, we'll see.
All right, Jeff Okudah gets traded last week for a fifth-round pick to Atlanta. We don't know the inside scoop on all these guys, right? I was reading yesterday that Okudah was a guy that when he got criticized really got down on himself and got into a funk, right? That maybe they thought I don't know, does that mean he's a little soft mentally? I'm not sure what that means. But knowing what we know about Jeff Okudah and his, backstory, number 3 overall pick in the draft, the FC's injuries, should the Jags have been willing to give up a 4th-round pick to acquire him, in your opinion, Demetrius? And I know you're a fan of the idea of Budda Baker in teal, but do you think there's any kind of chance that the Jags could be playing in that market?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your first question, Okudah is interesting because obviously coming out of Ohio State, he was thought to be, one of the top corners. People were saying, he's better than C.J. Henderson. That was sort of the debate of that draft. He obviously went before Henderson, and then, he had some injuries. I don't know if necessarily I would have traded a 4th-round pick for him. If they had done it, I don't think that that's something to be mad about if you're a Jaguar fan. But, at the same time, it's not something to lose sleep over that they didn't do it, if that makes sense. He's not somebody who is fully established in the league. Yes, he has a lot of potential, but, is he going to ever play up to that potential? Is he going to be able to stay healthy for a number of seasons? Those are the kinds of things that you're thinking about. Plus the contract. I mean, he still has a top 10 pick contract, in hand, and that's something that you're going to have to end up paying out. That's something that Atlanta's going to have to end up paying out. So I don't know if necessarily I would have traded the fourth-round pick for him. I don't think he would bolster the roster, to a dramatic degree. I think that they can just safely go into the draft and try to figure it out in this loaded class. But as far as Budda Baker goes, obviously he's a guy that I would absolutely trade for if it was possible because of his versatility. I think that he's the ideal fit as a guy who can play multiple positions in the defensive backfield. You never have to take him off the field. I think that, they could figure out the money situation. That's never really an issue. It's really just about draft compensation. Is he going to be had for a Jamal Adams type deal? Are you going to have to send a first-round pick? At that point, I would begin to question it only because, you can shore up your roster. They have so many holes in terms of depth on the roster that you kind of need these draft picks. It's a really tricky situation, but, if they had, gone out and acquired Budda Baker, I don't think anybody's, upset about that. So if in terms of if they can or if they will, I'm not sure. I haven't necessarily heard anything about it. I know other people have maybe heard, stuff. But, at this point, I don't know if they're going to be, deep diving into if they can get Budda Baker. If anything, I think that could come after the draft.
Demetrius, we've talked to a bunch of different people about the draft, obviously, over the last couple months. And when we've asked different people about O'Cyrus Torrence, they question how much of a scheme fit he might be for the kind of offensive lineman that the Jacksonville Jaguars look for. You still see him mocked to the Jags plenty. Do you think Torrence is a good scheme fit for the Jags at guard?
Scheme fit, I mean, that's kind of tricky because, he is more of a and this is not like to disparage him, like a plotting type of guard, and that he's not going to be like a Quentin Nelson where all of a sudden, he's at one spot and he kind of just teleported outside. That's not necessarily his game. He doesn't have the quickest feet. And the Jaguars play a lot of wide zones. So, that's sort of a position where you need to be able to move a bit more. But at the same time, I do think, having watched him last year, covered him for a brief period before he actually played at Florida, he's everything that you would want in a guard in terms of just being able to prevent players from getting by and going to Trevor Lawrence. He's never given up a sack in his career, which is astounding. I mean, I'm sure they might have got that wrong. I mean, that's how astounding it is. But at the same time, he has looked dominant. I think that's something that they missed last year. They missed a lot of that size inside because Tyler Shatley had to play. He's a little bit smaller. Obviously Luke Fortner is not the biggest guy either. So being able to get bigger inside, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so he might not be a perfect scheme fit, but to me, that doesn't really matter. You don't have to have perfect fits for every single position as long as they can play. And I think that, Phil Raucher is probably one of the best offensive line coaches in the league. Just speaking towards his resume with the Vikings and with the Commanders, I think that if there's any situation that would be ideal for an offensive lineman, it would be here in Jacksonville. So having O'Cyrus Torrence, I don't think that's any problem.
Yeah. By the way, Demetrius had O'Cyrus Torrence going to the Jags in the first round of his latest mock last week. Will you have another one coming out between now and the beginning of the NFL draft next Thursday?
Yeah, I should have. I'll have one more. I'm not a super big fan of mocks. I haven't done very many, but I'll have one more, maybe either the day before the draft or a couple of days before, just to get it all out there. And this is my final prediction. Yada yada. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
All right, buddy. Demetrius Harvey, always appreciate the time and the insight. And you'll find Demetrius on Twitter at Demetrius82, which you probably already do. Demetrius, all the best. Hopefully we'll talk to you before the draft, but if not, I'm sure shortly afterwards to get your thoughts on everything that went down. So thanks for your time this morning, buddy.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys.
All right, there he goes, Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times Union. Just a note here, as he mentioned Darnell Wright being the guy, in his opinion, who would be the great fit. This is on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Darnell, worst run blocking grade in several years and a sudden riser. I'll pass. So I just Googled Darnell Wright run blocking. First scouting report I came to, talking about his pass blocking first. He allowed last season no sacks, 2 quarterback hits, 6 quarterback hurries, in 507 pass block reps. Stat to know, Wright had the lowest blown block rate on run plays of any player on the list. And this is the list of the best offensive tackles in the draft, in this site's opinion. So I don't know, right? I mean, I don't think he can be that horrible if he is considered a consensus first-round pick at this point in time. And I will say this. What is Juwan Taylor more known for? Pass block.
No doubt.
Right? By far. And it got him $80 million, right? Now, granted, that's going to be to play left tackle. But even at right tackle, man, we're in a passing age now. And we're not just going to line up and go, wing T and shove it down your throat every single play. So, hey, look, I'm not saying that there's not legitimate criticism of Darnell Wright. I'm sure there is, and hopefully the Jags are going to make the right decision, no pun intended, no matter which players are available with the 24th selection. I mean, the text line is just pounding it this morning. So we'll get to some of your texts coming in next at 641-1010, keeping it on the subject of your Jacksonville Jaguars, particularly the contract that awaits Trevor Lawrence sometime in the relatively near future. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E.T. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, are you looking for the best deal in your next set of tires? Tire Outlet's got your back. They never fall flat. They offer the best selection, best quality, and best prices on tires so you can find the right ones for your vehicle. And with over 40 years of experience at 14 locations around the First Coast and a legendary price match guarantee, you can trust Tire Outlet is going to have your vehicle in great hands with skilled technicians ready to maintain and repair your vehicle to keep it operating at its best. Not just tires, ladies and gentlemen. They got so much more. But check them out online at TireOutlet.com. That's Tire Outlet, where you always get wholesale prices and premium service.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Every day is a perfect day for football on Jacksonville's football station. Just lock your radio on 1010XL to get your year-round football fix. 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Some people don't do well under pressure. At Northern Tool and Equipment, we do it best. Whether you're spraying down the shop or getting the winter grime off your house, a Northern Tool pressure washer says you're serious about spring cleaning. From an all-electric power horse to a Honda-powered North Star, we'll help you build your perfect cold or hot water package with all the chemicals, attachments, and everything you need for the job ahead. Northern Tool and Equipment. We're made for this. Come see us in store or shop online at northerntool.com.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is teaming up with the NFL to inspire change. From now to draft day, Big Brothers Big Sisters is following the NFL draft, aiming to recruit potential bigs. Hi, I'm Brent from the 1010 sales team. I'm committed as a mentor, and we need you to step up and become a mentor too. There's a waiting list of more than 50 children hoping for a mentor. It's just a few hours a month. Be a mentor. Become a big. Visit bbsnefl.org. Be a mentor or visit Big Brothers Big Sisters and click on Big Draft.
This is Coach Ellen Darley of Darley's Plumbing with my thoughts about the new rules in baseball. I won't miss the infield shift, and bigger bases are nice, but I'm most excited about the new pitch timer. That should speed up the game, but could also lead to more balks, especially since there's at least 13 different ways a pitcher can balk. And if you're balking at the high cost of good plumbing work, call my team at Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts. We're online at darleysplumbing.com.
License number CFC 056702.
From Cuba to Nicaragua, the journey of master blender Rene Lorenzo has created some masterpieces. HVC Cigars boast a superb blend of the best Nicaraguan tobaccos in smooth and flavorful handcrafted cigars. Come out and taste these masterful blends at Tobacco Cove this Saturday from 1 to 4 to experience a Nicaraguan perfection. Kick back and relax in our comfortable lounge with food, prizes, and great deals on HVC Cigars. Tobacco Cove at Bay Meadows in San Jose this Saturday from 1 to 4 for a taste of Nicaragua.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union.
There's comfort in having real-time financial solutions you can trust. When it comes to your money, count on First Florida Credit Union. When value counts, rely on First Florida for rates and rewards that give you the freedom to enjoy more of what you want. When service counts, depend on First Florida for the conveniences you expect and the personal connection you deserve. First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Obviously, the summer temperatures are already here, and if you're like me, you want that oppressive Florida heat to stay outside the house. That's why I'm such a fan of Pella Windows and Doors. By now, we know that windows are the #1 way that heat gets in and the cold gets out. So when you're ready for the stylish design and energy efficiency that comes from Pella Windows and Doors, we invite you to visit their showroom on Phillips Highway next to Tesla, or find them online at PellaJacks.com.
I was on the go, it was time to eat. I said, baby, grab a dandy, cause they can't be beat. She got something else when it was time to choose. And after just one bite, I got that soggy sandwich blue. Should've known better, only dandy will do. Got that hometown flavor creeping up on you, yeah.
Are you an electrician looking for better pay and benefits? Miller Electric Company has the industry-leading compensation package. Electricians are eligible for a signing bonus up to $1,000. Now, they're partnering with the Jaguars on their new performance facility, the Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric has opportunities for you to work on some of the most exciting projects right here in Jacksonville. Whether you're experienced or not, visit MillerCareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. That's MillerCareers.com.
It's time for some University of North Florida baseball. The Ospreys host the Florida State Seminoles Wednesday, April 19th at Harmon Stadium. First pitch at 6:05. Reserve your seat now at UNFOspreys.com/tickets. Come cheer the Ospreys against the Noles Wednesday, April 19th. Get your tickets today at UNFOspreys.com. Swoop!
I'm Taylor Dahl with your 1010XL local sports update. University of Florida right-handed pitcher Hurston Waldrop was honored as the SEC Pitcher of the Week on the heels of his 7-inning gem against Georgia. Waldrop threw 7, allowed just 1 run as the Gators evened the series against the Dogs over the weekend. And Chris Doring joined the Frangie Show last week before the Orange and Blue spring game. He shared his thoughts on the QE battle in Gainesville.
From all the talk, I mean, everybody's trying to promote this continued quarterback battle, and I know you have to do that. You're always recruiting, re-recruiting your roster and trying to placate to everybody, particularly the quarterbacks, but really seems like Graham Mertz is going to be the guy when they roll out to Salt Lake City the first week of the season.
72 degrees at 11:03. Time and temper brought to you by Bueller Air Condition. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
I think you have to hope that Darnell Wright is there out of Tennessee. I think that he's probably their best bet in terms of being able to fill that right tackle role or left tackle role, depending on what happens next year with Cam Robinson and sort of how Walker Little progresses or doesn't progress. I think that's probably the most important position that you can select.
Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Well, Tony, looking at a pair of mock drafts I saw this morning, you're not going to get Darnell Wright at 24. In one, Jared Dubin over at CBS had him going 13th overall in the first round of the NFL draft, and Brian Brzee of Clemson coming to Jacksonville. Peter Schrager had him hanging around tantalizingly close to the 22nd pick, where the Ravens took him in this mock, and the Jags took Brian Branch. So, who knows?
Yeah.
It is. We will find out next Thursday. All right, and we can stop all the guessing and speculating at that point.
One of the interesting things there, the two names that you mentioned, with Wright.
Brzee and Branch?
Yeah, with the actual pick after Wright came off the board there with Branch.
Two guys named Brian, both
Right.
with initials BB.
And so those were two of the guys that Demetrius mentioned as maybe if the Jags, if it is thinning out of the guys that they'd like, that they'd be willing to make a move for. They obviously didn't have to go get him in that particular mock draft.
I'm only making a move if there's like one guy, right? Like, because I feel like that, and maybe the Jags are going to feel like Demetrius said, their biggest need, got to protect, right? And we don't know exactly how they feel about Walker Little. I know they said it's a great opportunity for him, all these different things.
Sure.
So, but if they're like really keyed in on getting offensive tackle help and there's one left on a tier, or the same with pass rush or whomever that happens to be, or if there's one tight end that is so far ahead, head and shoulders above the crowd, but it'd have to be something like that, because if you can go, like, I got like 2 or 3 corners, I'd be okay with you. Brian Branch, another one. You can consider him a corner / just call him defensive back.
Sure.
Maybe a pass rusher or two. Maybe, I feel like I'll be surprised if they move up, put it that way. And if it'll be specifically to get a guy who's the last guy on a certain tier at a certain position. Yeah. And that'll be it. And then, maybe they will. Maybe that'll be a Darnell Wright type of guy, and they'll feel that way about him. But in terms of having a guy that I think most of us would not be shocked, there's not going to be a consensus, everybody's happy pick, I don't think, right? Because someone will say, well, we did this, but we didn't do this. Yeah. And that's going to be the case no matter what you do.
Only got one pick.
But I think in terms of guys we're going to go, okay, I can see it. There's going to be a handful of those guys available to them at 24.
You would think.
Anyway, now then, again, their assessment of those players, I can see it is based on media and mock drafts, and, we're being conditioned to expect these certain players here, and now we're being told there's going to be chaos and it's not going to go the way you think. But because you haven't seen certain names, like that Cole Strange pick by the Patriots, right? Like everyone was like, whoa. Apparently there are going to be several of those this year, or potentially, those out of left field type selections that people aren't conditioned and ready for.
Yeah, there is no part about my opinion for what the Jags will or should do with the 24th pick that is based on any knowledge of what the Jaguars are going to do at the 24th pick.
No. It's like what we're comfortable with them doing. And in the end, they don't have to take the guy I want.
No.
Whoever that turns out to
right.
be. Just right. Get a really good player.
Yeah.
Get a really good player. Don't pick a bust. Or don't pick a guy who's substandard compared to a guy at the very same position who's still available, and on and on and on. And you don't know that until it plays out, but you got to be right. This on the text line, I saw a couple along this line. It might have been from the same person. I'm not sure. But if I move off my spot, everything's going to jump. So it said this on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures in regards to quarterback contracts and negotiations. I'm surprised that these players haven't started asking for a tiny percentage of ownership. That's money in perpetuity. Sure it is, but it also is not allowed you got to have a firm value of what you're getting. You could get, I suppose, a piece of the action. How do you value that? I don't know if that would even be allowed under terms of the deal. There's been talk about eventually tying contracts, like quarterbacks having the clout to say, I want X percentage of the salary cap. That way, as the salary cap goes up, my salary goes up, but it's still only 15% of what you're paying, or whatever the number would happen to be, 20, 25%. I mean, really, the salary cap's not $250 now, right? So you make it $50 million as a quarterback, you're getting over 20% of it, in theory, at least on average. So, look, there have been all kinds of suggestions that these things happened with kind of wink-wink handshake deals.
Sure.
That circumvent the salary cap and therefore make them illegal to do by NFL standards. So don't see that happening. That's not a road that the NFL is going down, right? There's plenty of money, cash money, and I get, maybe you don't want a percentage. And what would you do now all of a sudden? Let's say a player gets traded 3 years from now. Can you own a percent of a team and play for another team? Seriously, right? Like it's
a little complicated,
kind of weird. Here's one. Jags wouldn't sign Trevor today, 5 years, $55 million a year, fully guaranteed. Y'all know better than that. We'll see. We will see. I mean, I think the thing with Jalen Hurts had to prove that he could be a good enough passing quarterback in the National Football League. Now, he did, right? But there were questions. Is this guy just a mobile quarterback who's a passer? I'm simplifying this, oversimplifying, kind of a passer of opportunity, and his passing game is predicated on his running game. Well, look, we're in an era now where, yes, the running game is an integral part of a lot of guys' quarterback skill set. But, I mean, Trevor is a guy that find me the person that projects that he's going to age poorly, right? You know what I mean? Like certain guys' games you think might not hold up. I think the feeling is Trevor's only going to continue to get better, at least in the near term until you reach a peak. I think you try to maintain that for as long as you possibly can. Yeah, you're always trying to add things, but here's the other thing: they can't sign him to that today. And a year from now, $55 million a year may be the benchmark. Right? What if Justin Herbert gets $55 million a year? And maybe he won't. Maybe he gets 52. Right? Whatever. That's a lot. Why wouldn't Trevor Lawrence be worth every penny Justin Herbert's had if you realize the train wreck of the situation he was in his first year. You see the improvement, and particularly now Trevor can't go out there and just coast 4,100 yards this year. Nobody expects him to.
Yeah.
But he's still got to do it. Right? So if he goes and has the kind of year we're thinking, 4,600 plus yards, 30 touchdowns, right? Keeping the interceptions at a reasonable number. Team success, win the division, maybe win a playoff game. Again, why wouldn't he be getting what Herbert is getting?
Sure.
And Herbert's getting it based on the statistics he's put up and the profile. I mean, big, strong arm quarterback can make all the throws, right? It's shown that. Hasn't had any postseason success at all at this point, other than a half.
He had a good half.
He had a pretty good half, most of a half, about 28 minutes of success.
I think it's interesting, too. You look at Jalen Hurts from 21 to 22, right, and how much the numbers changed or didn't change, right, in those two seasons. In 21, he threw for 3,144 yards. Last year, with A.J. Brown being added to the offense, Devontae was already there. He threw for 3,701.
Okay, but what did he run for?
I'll get to that too.
Right.
Threw 16 touchdowns in 21 through 22 last season. Threw 9 interceptions in 21 through 6 last season. Completed 61.3% of his passes in 21, 66.5% of his passes last year. His running numbers, in 2021, he rushed for 784 yards and 10 touchdowns. 2022, 760 yards and 13 touchdowns. His numbers haven't changed that much.
He also missed several games down the stretch.
It's 15 in both.
Oh, is it 15?
It's 15 in both years. Yeah. Like it is when I looked at it, I expected there to be a bigger difference in his passing numbers with A.J. Brown coming in.
He went up like 600 yards.
Went up about 600 yards over the course of 15
games. His touchdowns went up, his
games.
interceptions went down.
Yeah, it just wasn't the drastic shift that I thought I would see. It doesn't mean that I don't think he's worth the contract. I think it's saying that there was more than just the raw numbers that went into them figuring out how to do that deal with Jalen Hurts.
Well, here's the deal, too. What are you going to do if you don't go that route?
Sure.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, the worst position to be in is to have a pretty good quarterback.
And he's going into a contract year because he's a second-round pick.
Right. They don't have the fifth-year option that they can apply to him. If you're just a pretty good quarterback, you can make some good money, but for the team, you know what I mean? Like Jalen Hurts, okay, guys, runner-up MVP. We went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We've got a team around him. This makes sense, right? And today, it's just big money. It's big money, but that's the world they live in. They live in a different world than we do.
Mm-hmm.
If Trevor Lawrence takes that leap in stats, and I don't think it's from 24 to 30 touchdowns, for instance. That's about what Jalen Hurts did, right? That in terms of that kind of jump.
22, yep.
He added 600 yards passing. Let's say Trevor had 500 yards passing. He's at 46, right? And the rushing numbers are what they are. Maybe he runs for a handful of touchdowns like he did this year, and all that's great. You're not paying him based on the running numbers. You're paying him on the passing numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Here's 8 years, $575. We told you that one. 10 years, $500 million, fully guaranteed, with a heavy signing bonus to keep his cap hit down. I don't think you have to set the new standard. I'd be willing to go to a high number of fully guaranteed, but if the fully guaranteed money is below $200,000 $200 million, in most cases, you don't have to give Trevor Lawrence $500 million fully guaranteed. That he hasn't, unless he goes out and wins the Super Bowl for you this year, right? I mean, why should he get that? I get it. Latest one to the table gets a little bit more, but there's a difference between a little bit more and setting a new standard that's so far out of the ballpark. It's kind of why that nobody's using that Deshaun Watson contract as their benchmark.
You look at the practical guarantees and quarterback contracts right now. Here are the quarterbacks that are getting over $150 million guaranteed at the time that they signed the contract.
Hold that thought. We're getting behind.
Sure.
We come back. We'll look at those numbers. And, again, just a bevy of texts and social media posts on this subject. So we'll continue to go to that well when we come back in a minute. With Tony Smith and ET, I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. You've heard us talk about it. Window World, the #1 window replacement company in the USA, selling over 1 million windows each year for the past 8 years.
That's a lot of satisfied customers and why J.D. Powers has awarded Window World Best in Customer Satisfaction 3 out of 4 years.
Window World stands behind their slogan, simply the best for less. With Window World, you get top quality windows at a price that leaves more of your money in your bank account, and you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement industry. When compared to our competition, there is none. See for yourself. Call the competition. Get quotes from them. But before you buy, get Window World's free estimate and compare the quality of the windows and the price.
You'll see.
And when your new Window World windows are installed and they're saving you money on your energy bills, if anything goes wrong with those windows, Window World and I will be there to make it right. That's my guarantee.
Call Window World today. Start saving money on your new windows and your energy bills and take vacation with your savings. Window World, online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors and siding. Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not being afraid of the crosses of life. Life can be difficult. Maybe today you're carrying a cross of worry or stress. Let me encourage you to remember that when Christ got on the big cross at Golgotha, he destroyed all the little crosses that we face in our life. He set us free from fear, worry, and anxiety. Our job is not to be carried by the cross, but to be carried by our faith.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Hey guys, Hicken here. It's hot now and it ain't getting any cooler. Unless you stay cooler with Bueller. Bueller Air is still locally owned and still treating their growing customer base like they're part of the family. Go ahead and Google them yourself, Bueller Air. You won't find better rated air conditioning company in town. I use them, so I already know. I love them. Like I said, it's getting hotter than ever outside, so stay cooler with Bueller.
Bueller Air, stay cooler with Bueller.
She may be a Yankee, but the girl knows ball.
Someday she's gonna be a real big star.
Catch Mia O'Brien on XL Primetime weekdays, Helmets and Heels Tuesday nights, and on 1010XL's video and social channels. Driven by Arlington Toyota.
The Northeast Florida Safety Council has been keeping Florida safe for 80 years. I'm Megan Ehlers, Member Services Specialist. Whether your organization is large or small, we're a nonprofit that provides the services you need to take the worry out of compliance. Benefits of membership include thousands of online and instructor-led safety and health classes, learning management system access, safety walkthroughs, orientation program development, and consulting services. For more on becoming a member, visit nefsc.org.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-onefcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Score more savings at your home team Ag Pro. Right now, get a John Deere Z920M starting at $11,299. Team up with us online at agproco.com to find the location nearest you. See dealer for details. Offer ends 4/30/23. Some restrictions apply.
Call Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. We want to win your business with honest and upfront transmission service. I'm Robin Sidbury, the owner. That's a promise from me. Get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Fact, we all want to feel better, especially when our joints hurt. Are you stuck on the sidelines but want to get back in the game of life? My friend Dr. Alan Nathans has a no-needle regenerative clinic for people with degenerated arthritic joints, like bone-on-bone knees, shoulders, hips, and more. He uses no-needle soft wave tissue regeneration technology that activates your own stem cells to grow brand new tissue. Long-term results. Don't do another cortisone injection. Dance at 50, golf at 60, river run at 70. Yes, yes, and yes. Check out Dr. Nathans at drnathans.com.
This is Hayes Carline for Island Wing Company, located on Southside near Tinseltown, and our new location at Bartram Park in St. Johns County. Two great locations offering the ultimate sports bar experience where you can stick to healthy options. Island Wing Company has a wide selection of fryer-free food. The wings are baked, not fried, with so many awesome flavors to choose from. You can also get delicious salmon, tuna, flatbreads, and tacos. With tons of spectacular TVs, dog-friendly patios, and 2 daily happy hours, Island Wings can't be beat.
Dan Hicken.
We've been through a lot together. You know that?
Jeff Prosser.
You sure have, you son of a gun. Son of a gun. You've been a true public servant. You can feel right proud of yourself. You know that?
Mornings on 1010XL.
You're not going to cry, are you? I mean, you're so emotional, high-strung and everything. Fine, I'm fine.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL. All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, before you get into the guaranteed money that quarterbacks are getting here, I mean, look, I'd like Trevor to sign a team-friendly deal too, but, you know, and he may be that guy that doesn't want to squeeze every last penny out, right? You know, 50 to 52 to 55 million, whatever, but I would offer, says Nate, 7 years, $35 million per to Trevor. Well, if you want to get off on a bad foot on the negotiations, that's a good way to start.
You tried that, man.
I mean, seriously, like, you could say, well, what has he done? Well, you're paying him what you think he can potentially do for you. Give us an idea of, you know, the practical guarantees that quarterbacks are making right now. This is before another wave of big contracts are going to kick in with Burrow, ultimately Lamar Jackson, you would think, Justin Herbert.
Here are the guys that are getting $150 million or more in practical guaranteed money in their contracts. Deshaun Watson tops the list, $230 million guaranteed.
Fully guaranteed.
Jalen Hurts, $179.3.
Again, and see, practical guarantees are like likely to be earned incentives, right? Like, they're not going to cut this guy after 1 year, so this money is going to be there and la-di-da-di-da.
Yeah, like guaranteed at signing, Jalen Hurts got $110 million guaranteed at signing. But practical over the course of the contract, $179.3. Russell Wilson, third on the list at $161 million, but the contract that
that's
he
the
signed
guy who got paid for
offseason.
what he used to do.
Yep. Kyler Murray, $159.8 million. Aaron Rodgers, $150 million, and Josh Allen, $150 million, practically guaranteed. That's the list. 6 guys that are on that list at $150 million or more in practical guarantees. You didn't hear Patrick Mahomes' name on that list yet, despite the 10-year contract. He would be next after Josh Allen on that list at $141.4
But that contract for Patrick Mahomes is almost, you might as well consider it all guaranteed, just about, right? I mean, barring
unless he gets a catastrophic injury, he's going to get all that
and a lot of that stuff
money.
is guaranteed for injury anyway, right? And so, yes, I mean, it would have to be a catastrophic, or he decides to retire or something along those lines. Let's see. Okay, you're looking at that. Jalen's numbers won't way up yet, and you took a look at that. Yeah, look, Trevor Lawrence isn't about passing stats. He's about winning. Okay, but when they're negotiating a contract, Those stats matter.
They certainly do.
The winning matters. Absolutely, the winning matters, but those stats matter a lot as well.
Well,
so.
we had someone on the text line that wanted to offer him a deal that would give him $35 million a year, right, for Trevor Lawrence.
That's what I said. 7 years, $35 million per.
Yeah.
Come on.
That would make him tied with Kirk Cousins for 12th in average annual now. And
right.
again, that's without
Herbert
Herbert and Burrow and Lamar
that
Jackson,
that.
right? Like so you're saying you want to pay him like the 16th, 15th best quarterback in the league, and that you expect him to say yes to that kind of offer? Just, it's not going to happen.
Somebody asked, what if Trevor regresses? Does he still get paid? Will he have to wait another year to get paid? Well, look, that's certainly this is a conversation that's basically assuming that Trevor Lawrence is going to continue to get better, right? And that's fair. That is fair. We've said it. Trevor Lawrence goes out there and has a year like he had his rookie year, which I can't imagine. Circumstances are completely different.
Yeah.
He's got a great supporting cast. He's a hard worker. He's got good coaching. He's got all these things, right? So, but no, I think that's fair. If he were to have a serious regression, maybe you just say, hey, you know what? Maybe he would want to wait a year or two. Like, hey, I need to have that bounce back to get that number back up into, at least into Derek Carr land.
Like, we also got to understand now, this is a business, and it's a business that's played, or even a game that's played both ways. Of course, it would benefit whomever to pay him early, but if he does have a bad season, then like you said, Mike, like, hold on now, this is not the Trevor that we thought was going to progress. We're going to give you another year, and then if he doesn't progress, continue. Now, who benefited from that? Obviously, the Jaguars. But if they don't pay him and Trevor continues the ball, hey, guess what? Yesterday's price ain't today's price, my boy.
Well, here's the thing. We get another 17-game season to evaluate, right? So you're not even eligible to pay him right now. Would the Jags give Trevor Lawrence the Jalen Hurts contract right now if they could?
I think they would.
I think they probably would,
Me
too, because they know that price is going to go tick, 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 ticking up. And I think the guaranteed money he ultimately gets will be more than Jalen Hurts got in his deal. Now, we can sit here and go, we'd be willing to give fully guaranteed. You don't have to if you're the NFL. And if you don't have to, you don't generally, right? And Cleveland felt like they had to because Deshaun Watson had taken them out. That's it. I'm not going to Cleveland. They're off the list. I'm down to, and everyone thought he was going to Atlanta, and they came in with some absurd over-the-top type deal. Look, if push came shoving, and nobody wants to see this, right? I want everybody to be happy. I want Trevor Lawrence and his lovely bride, Marissa, to have big smiles on their face and talk
want it
about.
To be easy.
Right, they're going to be here, and we got a deal done that we're happy with. We left a little there. We're going to put a good team around us, whatever the case. But I don't want it to be like, well, we got it done. Let's get it done. Everybody's thrilled with the whole scenario.
And certainly don't want it to turn into what Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are going through right now.
No, and I don't think it will.
I don't either.
But we're trying to think optimistically as well. So, you just don't know. Trevor doesn't seem like it's going to go that way. I had no idea if it ever seemed like it was going to go this way with Lamar, although you could see at least some of the elements of style of play becoming an issue and him peaking. That MVP season was 4 years ago, and those passing numbers have ticked down slightly since. So, if Trevor Lawrence, again, puts another step in the right direction, what is he, 23 right now? By the way, he's so much younger than some of these guys as well, some of them. And, if he does have that 30 touchdown, 4,500 yard season, whatever, and the Jags have team success, table set, my man. All right, let's go around the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Quarterback Bryce Young has ended the visits portion of his pre-draft process. Young is currently considered to be the favorite to be the number one pick in the draft by Carolina. Young has already completed visits with Carolina, Houston, and Las Vegas, who are all scheduled to pick in the top 7 of the draft here in 9 days. Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles have agreed to terms on a 5-year, $255 million contract extension, which will make Hurts the highest paid player in NFL history. The deal includes $179.3 million in guaranteed money, $110 million fully guaranteed at signing, and the first no-trade clause in franchise history. Hurts was a second-round pick by the Eagles in 2020, finished second in the league MVP voting last year, and has a 23-11 record as a starter through his first 3 years. Los Angeles Chargers head coach Brandon Staley said that quarterback Justin Herbert was in attendance for the beginning of the team's offseason program, but did not participate as he continues to recover from offseason labrum surgery, which is reportedly healing well. Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes said yesterday that his ankle was still not 100%, that it still isn't expected to limit him at all during the Chiefs' offseason, and that he expected not to be an issue at all by the time that they get to training camp. And in a sad note, former Jacksonville Jaguars defensive end Chris Smith has passed away at the age of 31. No cause of death has yet been announced. Smith was a fifth-round pick by the Jags in 2014, played the first 3 years of his career here in Jacksonville, spent last season with the Houston Texans.
Man, and I was reading over on PFT, he has a 4-year-old child, and the mom of the child passed away as well.
A traffic accident.
Right. Like they had an accident, they were outside of the car or something, and she got hit. And
he was up in
just
Cleveland?
awful, terrible stuff. So really feel for, that little child, the 4-year-old there, and anyone personally affected here.
Yeah, when the Jags drafted Chris and being around the locker room at that time, I remember, interviewing him a few times. Always super nice, like super chill guy. Played drums for his local congregation here in town when he was here, had done it through high school and college, that kind of thing, for a worship band, and was always super nice to me. It's really sad. I mean, loses his wife, and then loses that kid, has lost his mother, now his father. I mean, it's devastating.
And that was one of the homies, too. I was actually just talking with him last week.
Chris?
Yeah.
Really? And there's no cause of death given on this, right?
That's sad.
Don't know what the... Man, that's terrible. All the best to all those affected directly by the loss of Chris Smith. You know what? I won't even try to transition to anything less important at this moment, but we'll come back, take a peek at some less important stuff, including a Kuiper and McShay alternating pick 3-round mock. Just tell you who they had the Jags going with there, and we'll take a look at some of your responses to the question today, and we'll try to do our best to answer this as well and come up with a number for what Trevor Lawrence's next deal is going to look like with the Jacksonville Jaguars after Jalen Hurts broke the bank yesterday. It's interesting. Ian Rappaport said that, in his opinion, the Ravens would give that deal to Lamar right now because everyone's like, oh, Lamar's got to be going, well, what am I worth now? And he showed how it's really not that different than what they offered him in terms of full guarantees, and then you get into the practical guarantees and all this other stuff because there was some feeling that Lamar's camp would run right up to the table and take that in a heartbeat, or Lamar, I guess he is his camp, he and his mom. But also Ian Rappaport putting out there that he thought the Ravens might be amenable to that. So it was so strongly worded that I thought somebody with the Ravens was like, hey, get this out there. Like, if Lamar wants this deal, we can get this done. We're in the ballpark. Yeah. I don't know how that all is going to end up, but that's not our concern right now. We'll come back with the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. What do you expect Trevor Lawrence to get in his next contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E.T. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Pella Windows and Doors. I see Pella every day. I see right through them, as a matter of fact. The beautiful windows that they installed in my home last summer. Had a golf ball crash through my living room window. Needed to upgrade anyway. Knew where to go. Pella's the best. Consumer Reports will tell you the overall top choice for both energy efficiency and stylish design, and they back it up. And when you go in there, they're clearly experts in the field, and they've got all the top quality products to take care of your home, make it feel good and look good. When you need to replace your windows or doors, or you're just considering it, visit the Pella showroom. They're on Phillips Highway next to Tesla. You always find them online at PellaJacks.com.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Hey folks, you ever search why Shark Coatings is the best? Well, one of the many reasons is our polyurea. We don't just buy it from anyone who has it in stock. We custom blend ours, specializing between summer and winter blend, providing you with the best product for our area. After grinding the concrete, that polyurea will form a permanent bond at the molecular level and will not pull away like epoxy. With Shark Coatings, not only will your garage look awesome, but your pool deck, patio, or driveway will too. See how Shark Coatings can make a difference for you. Call, click, or text today.
Northeast Florida Safety Council has been keeping Florida safe for 80 years. I'm Dominic Whitley, Environmental Health and Safety Director. What kind of safety culture have you developed at your business? Safety is a saver of lives, limb, and the bottom line. A great safety culture protects your most important investments, your employees and your business, and results in great success. Let us help you develop a successful safety culture. Visit us at nefsc.org and become an elite member today. Again, that is nefsc.org.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is teaming up with the NFL to inspire change. From now to draft day, Big Brothers Big Sisters is following the NFL draft, aiming to recruit potential bigs. Hi, I'm Brent from the 1010 sales team. I'm committed as a mentor, and we need you to step up and become a mentor too. There's a waiting list of more than 50 children hoping for a mentor. It's just a few hours a month. Be a mentor. Become a big. Visit bbsnefl.org. Be a mentor or visit Big Brothers Big Sisters and click on Big Draft.
Tacos, tequila, and tunes. The third annual Jacksonville Taco and Margarita Festival returns to TIAA Bank Field April 22nd. Check out Jacksonville's best food trucks, serving up an amazing variety of mouth-watering tacos with margaritas, tequila, and ice-cold beer. Fun for the whole family with live music, kids' activities, and so much more. Parking is free. It's not your average Taco Fest. Enjoy as you go with GA or Grande with VIP passes. Available now at TIAABankfield.com.
Bridging the gap between the First Coast and the swamp.
Gators. I'm Taylor Dahl. Join me for the Gator Report on 1010XL as I break down the latest storylines in Gator Nation.
Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts on 1010XL.
Hey, Jack's Beats, is Jeff Loggeman here. Hungry for the best brisket, pulled pork, spare ribs, jalapeno poppers, banana pudding? The Bearded Pig is there for you on 3rd Street to feed your whole crew. And don't worry for the folks in town, we're still here in San Marco. The Bearded Pig, Southern Barbecue and Beer Garden.
Drivers and heavy truck mechanics, if you like sports, then you're going to love working at Waste Management.
We have a team atmosphere here where we're looking out for one another. We jump in to help out.
Listen up. WM is now offering a $5,000 new hire bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs at our sites in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine.
It's camaraderie. It's everything. I like it.
Steady work, competitive pay, weekly paychecks, opportunities for overtime, paid training, and a generous boot and tool allowance.
Plus, over-the-top benefits like 100% tuition coverage for you and your family, and home every day.
CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics. Apply online at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search driver and mechanic jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine, Florida.
A people first, military friendly, equal opportunity employer.
We are WM.
Honey, are you using the hot water?
No.
The water's cold again. How can we fix it? Did you just quack like a duck?
Yep. Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. For water heater installation and service, including tankless water heaters, gas or electric, call for a quote today.
When you're stuck, call the duck. 904-862-6769.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
This draft preview is brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida and Safe Harbor Seafood. Clemson pass rusher Miles Murphy has slipped in some media boards due to an offseason hamstring injury. The former top recruit and freshman All-American is a prototypical defensive end in a four-man front, but can also stand up in a 3-4, similar to Trayvon Walker. Miles Murphy could be a reliable run defender while offering a high floor and ceiling as a pass rusher.
As parents, we all want to ensure that our children are safe, secure, and healthy starting day one. Please make sure your newborn is sleeping safely. Visit WilsonChildren's.com/safe sleep for infant safety tips.
Launch the downloads.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
And initiate sequence.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
I were them, I would do it as soon as possible. At the end of the day, it seems like all these contracts are just going up and up and up. But if you, the longer you wait, the more money it's going to cost.
Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Man, where'd Brian Davis get all this cash, Tony? The former Duke basketball player. You know, he was on those early 90 teams with Leitner and Grant Hill and Bobby Hurley, right?
Oh, okay. He was that early.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he apparently is like the front man of a bid of $7 billion to buy the Commanders. Now, I don't know if he's just like the face of the bid, right? And I'm sure he's got some of his own money in there. But I heard the other day, like Vinnie Johnson, you see, Vinnie Johnson's got like $400 million net worth. Vinnie Johnson made $6 million in his NBA career. Wow. He's worth $400 million because he's got some like car distributorship deal that he works with all these cars. I don't exactly know what he does.
Sure.
Right? If I was smart enough to figure it out,
Apparently
maybe
does
I'd
it
have that
well,
money.
yeah.
He made that $6 million work for him, whatever he did.
But part of the deal is whatever, like whoever the majority owner is in a purchase has to have like 30% of the equity in the franchise, plus the operating capital to actually run the team after you put it out there. But apparently they made a bid that said we'll give you like $1 billion now and $6 billion by the end of the week. Like $1 billion in cash. Don't ask me. I don't know.
I'll give you $1 billion now.
You know, like I'll give you $1 billion now. I know I've got 6 other billion coming in over the next 7 days.
That's wild.
Got some friends that owe me a little money, so I'm hoping to collect. They said they'd get it to me, but I don't know. I don't know. Good for him.
$7 billion.
$7 billion, but it may be a case where, you know, again, you have to have the primary owner has to have X. The purchase, a certain percentage of the purchase has to be in cash, and all that up front, and but still. Good for him, man.
I made my eyes water.
Apparently, that Duke education do you right. So they say.
Man
All right.
knows how to sell a car.
No doubt. All right, let's get to these picks in the Kiper McShay co-mock draft. McShay made the first pick. They're alternating selections, and in the first round took Michael Mayer, the Notre Dame tight end, for the Jaguars. Said, yes, the Jags just franchise tag Evan Ingram. This pick still makes sense to me. For a team that could go best available at 24, Mayer not only will give quarterback Trevor Lawrence a big target to hit on third down and in the red zone, but also one of the best blocking tight ends in the class. And with Ingram only under contract for this season, Mayer's role could expand in the future. Okay, so that was first rounder. Again, this little 3-round combined dealio here. McShay then ends up with the Jags' 56th overall pick. He takes Riley Moss, corner, Iowa. He says to Mel, I know you have Moss as a safety at the next level. I think he could start out at cornerback with Jacksonville. So instinctive at 6'1", 193. He can compete with bigger receivers. Picked off 11 passes in college. So he'd be a good addition for a Jags defense on the upswing, says McShay. Okay, we're on the upswing. Didn't realize the defense was that much on the upswing. That Michael Dogby signing has really changed the complexion of things around here. All right, and then finally, McShay takes for the Jags in round 3, Zach Harrison, defensive end out of Ohio State. Starts out with this. Harrison didn't have a ton of sack production in college. 12 sacks over 4 years. But
Traits guy,
He's got a quick first step. He can set the edge against the run. His versatility would be welcome on the Jags' defensive front. That's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't like the pick at 24 in that mock draft either. You go look at what happened behind it.
What was on the board?
Deontay Banks went 25th, cornerback out of Maryland. Quentin
like
Johnson went 26, which however you feel about wide receiver is however you feel about receiver. 29 to New Orleans, Brian Brzee. Miles Murphy goes 30 to Philadelphia. 31, Will McDonald to Kansas City. 32, Brian Branch.
Keon White at 33.
Yeah, like it's this list of all these guys, and I'm not against tight end in the first round necessarily for the Jags, but I probably wouldn't love it if those 6 names were still on the board.
Just out of curiosity, if they went a different route here, Sam Laporta would be available to them at 56 in this mock.
Cyrus Torrance went 35th in that mock draft to Indianapolis.
Tony Pauline said he doesn't think he's going the first round.
Yeah.
Somebody in this station guaranteed that he would, but I don't name names.
We'll see how it works out. Yeah.
All right, ET, why don't you fire up the 10-10 take, sir?
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take, brought to you by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
All right, the Jaguars Today question of the day. Okay, seeing as how Jalen Hurts got a 5-year, $255 million contract extension with the Eagles, reportedly $179 million guaranteed. What do you think Trevor Lawrence's next contract will look like with the Jacksonville Jaguars? For the purposes of this, for me, I'm going to presume that he has a really good year this year and that they try to get something done next offseason. Now, knowing that at least Burrow should bump that number. I don't know if Herbert bumps that number that much. Sure. Like, you can make the argument that he shouldn't get as much as Hurts. Hasn't done as much as Hurts, other than the stats. I'm going to say, like, if it's 5 years, it's going to be more than Hurts got, but I don't think it's going to be $300 million. I don't think they're going to 60. I don't think, especially if it goes up incrementally. So I'll say, like, 5 years, $265 with $200 million guaranteed, if it's a 5-year deal. If it's an 8-year deal, which I would prefer, I could see it being a little bit less in terms of the average annual value and maybe more guaranteed money, like a 8-year, $400 million, $50 million a year deal with like 250, 260, whatever the number is, guaranteed, something like that.
The numbers I wrote, 8 years, $420 million. That's about $52.5 a year.
You're bidding against me now?
Yeah. $250 million guaranteed at signing, which is basically 60% of the contract.
Basically, what we just agreed on that. If it's an 8-year deal, except you went to 420.
Yeah.
Nice. You got a number in mind?
Yeah, I went 5 years, 285. 57 a year.
285. It could be. I think unless the Jags advance further in the playoffs this year, I don't know. Like, he's already in the ballpark, right? Mm-hmm. But how do you justify, like, Burrow has been to a Super Bowl. Hurts has been to a Super Bowl. Mahomes has won a couple Super Bowls now. So you can't just strictly go, well, he can't get more than those guys because they're going to get more than Mahomes, and Mahomes deserves more than Hurts does. Right. He just beat him head-to-head.
Deshaun got more than those guys, too. And Deshaun
in terms of guaranteed, some of those guys, certainly. So I'm not saying he can't get more than just, the next guy up tends to get a little bit more. But to get to really bump the average annual value, I don't know if he'll get 60. I wouldn't be shocked if he does because there could be 3 more quarterback dominoes to fall between now and then.
Yeah.
That could push that average right now, which is 51, right? So if Burrow gets 55, I don't think Trevor has to get 60, for instance. And he may be like one of the, again, there's a little difference between leaving a little bit of money on the table and being stupid.
Right.
You're not going to take $35 million in this market, but at the same time, does he have to push for 55, 60? Not necessarily that either.
Sure.
It'll be interesting to see what Herbert gets.
It really will be. And part of it, too, like, hey, you play in Florida, man. Let's just put even if Herbert's number is here,
yes,
he's going to lose another, 13%? I don't know what it is.
Whatever
California state tax is going to lose at their highest tax bracket, at least for those home games, a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Your home games,
good,
you're getting all that.
You good, bro.
You're getting all that. So, he's going to do just fine. And I think that's the most important thing. Let's have it be non-contentious.
Yep.
Let's get it done. Let's and then let's watch this cap explode so we still have plenty left to build around him. I mean,
sure, yeah.
You look at it right now, and that number, when it came out with Mahomes, it's like, holy smokes, he got what? Now you're like, oh, that's pretty economical, right? It's all play money to us. It's just crazy, and the money's there. The revenue's going up. The NFL's not shrinking. It's expanding. So he's going to be just fine, whatever he ends up getting. Let's just hope, for my sake, I don't want to have to go through it another 3 or 4 years down the line. So 8-year deal, please, or something in that ballpark. I'll take the Mahomes deal right now. Could you imagine? Hey, Trevor, would you like the Patrick Mahomes deal? No. No, I'd like more, right? And I mean, to think that, and he'll probably get more if they go that route. That's just the way it is next up to the table. So, maybe one day we will see a quarterback tie his earnings to a percentage of the salary cap, and it'll be a different story. Somebody pointed out on the text line, Tom Brady is never the highest paid quarterback, and his wife made as much as $33 million a year. So the household was doing just fine, and you could afford to take a little bit less and surround yourself. So, look, I hope Trevor takes a hometown discount, but I'm not going to tell him to be stupid about it either. You go get yours, young man. We'll be fine. That's what the salary cap is there for. It's growing. And hats off to Jalen Hurts. He earned it and cashed in. Trevor will do the same, no doubt. Let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping 1010XL rolling with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
A lot of people say just hand over the keys to the yacht. Whatever, man. I mean,
give him
perks.
AEW.
You can't, though.
He'll help turn it all into,
in all seriousness,
rainbows and sunshine.
Mia O'Brien here with us. Somebody suggested, hey, what about a piece of the team? Well, you still have the salary cap, right? There's a value to the piece of the team, right? And so you can't just say, I'm going to give you the $250 million plus I'm going to give you this, this, and this. Teams have done that.
There are people who want him to buy the team. That's the
they're saying give him a stake, give him a percentage because the value that's only going to grow over time, and that's fine. But I don't think the NFL is going to allow that.
The kid was ahead of the game with crypto, so maybe I don't know.
Right, at least he was willing to take his crypto signing bonus in crypto.
Yeah.
I think that maybe lesson learned on that one. I need gold bullion, Sean, and I wouldn't blame him. So obviously you guys talked a lot about it yesterday, Mia. We did as well. It's we hope. Whenever it comes, I hope at least whenever it comes down, I don't want a 5-year deal for Trevor Lawrence. I want an 8-year deal. I'd love a 10-year deal, but give me something where, 3 years into it, we're not going, or do we have to redo this whole thing again and it becomes a whole issue?
Right. No, I think the 8 or the 10-year deal absolutely is in play. I think that what's fascinating is when I look at the Jalen Hurts 5-year deal, I understand the money up front is very nice, and moreover, given the style of play that he plays, not that it's all that different than what Patrick Mahomes does, because he also uses his body as a battering ram, as does Josh Allen, but it's fascinating that he took that 5-year deal, unlike the 10, 8-year deals that those other two guys got, and moreover, now you got Lamar Jackson sitting on the sideline saying, where do I fall in that equation?
Yeah, I think it's a little different, though, in terms of physical risk. I think the 3 you mentioned, I think Josh Allen exposes himself to the most hits, right? But he's also built for it. I think Hurts is in the middle. I think Mahomes does run some. I don't see Mahomes pushing the pile a whole lot. The whole play last year became Jalen Hurts, and I'm not saying this is a play you're likely to get hurt on because there's not a lot of forward momentum.
Iowa sneak. It was the Iowa quarterback sneak where they literally moved the pile 5-10 yards almost up the field. I know it was only 2 or 3.
I knew you had to make it an
looked,
Iowa
It looked
thing.
5 or 10, though, I got to tell you.
All right. What do you guys have coming up today?
Oh, we have a jam-packed show. We're going to actually lead off the show with our good, bad, and ugly of our Duval Dirty Dozen draft picks because we're going to say hello to Ira Shafel coming up at 12:40 so we can talk some Florida State. Yes, Knowles fans, we hear you, we see you. And then we're going to welcome Chad Muma on from the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up in the 1 o'clock hour as well. And then, of course, Coach Campo, I believe, is set to stop by like he normally does at 2.
Maybe I should set my sights lower instead of trying to get Trevor to adopt me. Maybe Muma could adopt me, right? Start small, Tony.
Yeah.
Work my way up the ladder.
He's still a millionaire, if not already.
That's what I'm saying, right? Just think a little more practically. All right, have a great show, Mia. Thank you. Oh, there you go, Mia O'Brien and the XL Primetime crew coming up for you for the next 3 hours. That'll do it for us today. E, you got something on your mind in there? Or are you just getting ready to whip that ball at me real quick, huh?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing? I was, I saw him looking at me in a weird way, and his fingers started twitching. Right? I think I caught you. I caught you there cold. He was going to whip that thing in here. Go ahead, take a shot, man. I'll stand still. See if you can get me. Oh, you got the thing in your God. Oh, there goes my drink. And that's the end of Fun and Games 1010 XL. All right, that'll do it for us today. For Tony Smith, for ET, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thanks for playing along with us. We'll be back at it again tomorrow from 10 to noon here on 1010 XL 92.5 FM.
Yo, Jacksonville.
Man, y'all get off of T-Law.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go. The station with the best Jaguars coverage. When Jag News breaks, hear it first on 1010 XL 92.